Yo yo yo. Benvenuti a questa puntata speciale patrocinata da New Interplanetary Melodies, l'etichetta di Simona Faraone che ha reso possibile questa iniziativa, ovvero la presentazione del libro di Drexciya, The Book of Drexciya, interamente fatto da Abu Qadim Haqq, un disegnatore e fumettista di Detroit. Un libro ispirato alla storia che sta dietro il duo di produttori americani di Detroit, Drexciya. Thank you for being here, Abu. Thank you very much.
Prego, it's my pleasure, and you have a wonderful city. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Ringraziamo appunto Simona Faraone che purtroppo non potrà esserci qui oggi, anche Andrea Mi per la sua collaborazione nella produzione di questo evento, Antonio Valente che verrà presto qui a trovarci, e Tiziano P.Flex e Riccardo Tassi, meglio conosciuto come THX, che insonorizzeranno questo talk. Avremo qualche domanda da fare, qualche domanda che mi è stata passata anche da Andrea Mi, qualcosa che ho pensato anch'io con Simona. Quindi partiamo già con questo talk con un po' di musica proprio di Drexciya, selezionata da Riccardo. Tra poco cominciamo a fare le domande cruciali che presenteranno questo The Book of Drexciya. Quindi dicevamo New Interplanetary Melodies che presenta questo show perché l'etichetta di Simona Faraone è molto incentrata nel suo sound sugli aspetti principali dell'afrofuturismo, di cui appunto Drexciya sono tra i maggiori promotori. So Abu, thanks for coming here again. We have some questions for you just to introduce yourself and the book of Drexciya. First of all, I want to ask you, this is not the first time you head down to Europe, right? You've been already here.
Yes, I've been to Europe many times, and this is the second time I've been to Italy.
Great. And where have you been before?
Oh, I've been all over. I've been to the UK, England, Scotland, and been to France a few times. Been to Amsterdam quite a few times. Been to Germany several times, and also Spain, Greece, Macedonia. I think that's it.
Okay. And so about like your art. When did you start painting? What kind of studies have you done? Like you study art school, right?
Yes, I started painting, learning painting in high school, and then that carried over to art college in Detroit. It's called College of Creative Studies. I graduated from there in 1991.
Okay, and so you say you study classical painting, right? So
yes, we studied traditional classical style painting, oils, acrylics, watercolors, the whole range of paints. And a lot of stuff we learned back then have been replaced by computers, but still retain the knowledge of the traditional styles.
Great, and Florence is a perfect place for your style, right?
Yeah, it's very beautiful art here. I really enjoy it here.
Antonio probably tomorrow will take you around for some tourism, like to see the Uffizi Gallery as well.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Oh, great. Okay, so the Book of Drexciya is about mythology as well. You are like a fan of the Greek mythology. From what I know, right?
That's right. I grew up with Greek mythology as a young boy in the 70s. My mother bought picture books and also reading books of the Greek heroes and the myths, and it's always carried throughout my whole life. So I really enjoy it, and there's a definite connection with mythology and Drexciya, because from the first project I worked on. It was called Neptune's Lair, and of course that's a connection to Neptune, the god of the sea, and so there's a mythological connection right there.
Okay, and this connection with the Greek mythology is also translated into the Afrofuturism thing, right?
Yes. See. There's a lot of futuristic sort of tie-ins to the ancient myths, and also a lot of the ancient myths sound like science fiction stories, so they definitely are related, and trying to show that in this new art that I'm doing.
Great. Sera avremo, oltre a questa puntata qui, anche un live painting presso la galleria Zuc vicino ai Lungarni, dove Abu sarà protagonista con la sua arte, pitturerà qualche tela con qualche rappresentazione di personaggi fanno parte anche appunto della mitologia del Book of Drexciya. Spero per tutti voi sia comprensibile questa intervista in inglese. Partiamo con un po' di domande fatte da Andrea Mi, che ringraziamo per l'aiuto. E quindi The Book of Drexciya tells ancient stories coming to the surface, a brilliant blackness emerging from the deep sea, an ancient story of slavery told to repair the future. Please tell us how this project was born and how long you've been working on it.
That's a bit of a long story. I first had the idea, of course it started 20 years ago with Neptune's Lair, when these first characters and ideas were talked about with me and James Stinson. But then after the album came out, it was about a 15-year period, 14 or 15 years, maybe 2013 or 14, I had a comic book company and I wanted to do an underwater character, and that's when I thought of the idea of the Drexciyan King, the first Drexciyan King. And so I started to do different ideas and concepts and wanted to come out with a comic book for it. And my comic company failed, but I still kept the idea of doing the underwater character and approached different people in techno, but they weren't interested. And so just sort of laid quiet until I went to the Greek Afrofuturism conference in Athens. And then following that, a few months later, I saw Black Panther, and it really gave me an inspiration to continue. So I started, and then we did a crowdfunding, and more people supported it. So I had the money to do the comic, and it took about a year to accomplish the total writing of the comic.
Perfect. And 5 chapters of the first volume concerning the birth of Drexciyans. Do you think with us that the Drexciya can be considered one of the most powerful imagery of Afrofuturism?
Yes, I definitely do. I think it's one of the most powerful stories that's in Afrofuturism, because it's a complete story about a whole entire new civilization. It's just not one character or one group, but it's an entire civilization that emerges from the story of slavery. So I think it's a very powerful concept, and it's powerful and deep in Afrofuturism.
Cosa stiamo ascoltando, Ricca? Grava 4, uno degli album di Drexciya. Uscito per la Clone, giusto? Stampato da Clone, no? È stato ristampato da Clone. Aqualung. Avanti sempre con le domande poste da Andrea Mi, proseguiamo con questa. The iconography of water as a visualization of a relationship between past and future of African American culture, and the theme of the memory layered in the abyss emerged from the first time in some page of Beloved by Toni Morrison. In the same period, you started to spread this imagery along with the birth of techno music and electro. Which are the main influences between your visual work and that musical scene?
My main influences?
Yeah.
Yes, I have many influences over the years. From the 70s, it started with Japanese cartoons and anime, and science fiction shows that I watched as a kid, like Star Trek, and then later on Star Wars. In the 80s, I started collecting comic books and was very influenced by that, and also still continuing science fiction movies. And then around the mid-80s, they became influenced by people like Juan Atkins, and was introduced to him while I was in high school. And of course, later
So
on.
you know each other since high school, right?
No, I just listened to him.
I just listened.
Just listen to him. And also the Electrifying Mojo, was listening to him in high school, and the Wizard, Jeff Mills. And so it was heavily influenced by all those guys. And then later on in college, got to be deeper and deeper into techno, and eventually got to meet Derek May at Transmat 30 years ago, and that's when I officially started.
About your influences for your book: science fiction and comics, Japanese animation. What else?
Yes. Well, that's quite a bit of everything. Science fiction and fantasy. I like certain illustrators like Frank Frazetta, Simon Bisley. Norman Rockwell, different classical artists like that. I still read comic books to this day, so they still inspire me. And, science fiction isn't what it used to be, but every so often there's still good movies that also lead to inspiration. So many times the inspiration comes from inside now, and the music mostly, and my own imagination.
This
and
is Drexciya Cruiser Control, Bubble 1 to Lardosian.
Is it correct that to say that your visual work for the electro duo from Detroit named Drexciya, formed by James Stinson and Gerald Donald, is like a map of the diasporic black culture?
Thank you.
Can you repeat that?
Is it correct to say that your visual work for the electro duo from Detroit named Drexciya, formed by James Stinson and Gerald Donald, is like a map of the diasporic black culture?
Please use extra
yes, in a certain way, yes. But I think it goes to a new level that's never been achieved. At least in this kind of reality, because of from what I've observed over the years about the diaspora, it's in really bad shape, unfortunately, and in sort of a sad situation. So I'm trying to do something opposite of that. A lot of media and movies, especially in America, about black people, about slavery and, different sort of stereotypes. So I think this music breaks that mold and tells a whole new kind of story about the diaspora that's totally different from what you usually see, and it's just on a new level.
So here we are with the last question by Andrea Mi, che ci tengo ancora a ringraziare. Questa è abbastanza lunga e molto profonda, comunque tutte le domande che sono state poste le ringrazio veramente perché sono di altissima caratura. Quindi, into the last angel of history, John Akomfra shoot the legend of Robert Johnson, talking about a black secret technology to be known as the blues. The blues began jazz, the blues began soul, the blues began hip hop, the blues began R&B, and then techno and electro. He invited all of us to find a code, crack that code, and we will have the keys to your future. Can we say that the music composed by Drexciya and your visual works are a vision of that code?
If you have any problems, let me know.
You know, that's very interesting. You know, the old legends say that Robert Johnson was at the crossroads and he made a deal with the devil. So that's one of the old tales about him. So
That's why he died so young, right?
yes, exactly. So I'm don't know if it's exactly in that sort of vein.
It doesn't have to do with the devil.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm just.
It's more like they're more like their divinity.
Yeah.
But not bad divinity.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. But I of course everything is built on top of each other, and we stand on the shoulders of giants. And you know, I think this music is a continuation of a long tradition, starting way back during the tribal times, during the ancient times when we had the ancient drums in the tribes and would have ceremonies and rituals with music. And so I think this is all part of that ancient tribalism. And you know, for modern music, starting with Robert Johnson, you know, I think that's just different categories we have to put the music in just to try to understand it. But I think it's just a long tradition of soul music that comes from tribal people.
Which are the tribes that they replicate under the sea, right?
Yes. See.